I think I'm gonna knock on the door and see if anyone's home. All right, yeah, someone comes and opens the door. An elf woman in a flowing gown adorned with gold stars. She looks you up and down and she says, "Why did I even open the door? Just to have to look at a skinny weakling. My character isn't skinny and weak. He's big and muscly." Well, she says that anyways. And then she says, "Hey, no muscles. Why don't you go to the gym? I bet you signed up for a whole year gym membership and only went twice. Seems like a pretty stupid waste of money to me." But I did that in real life. Yeah, I know, but that's what the girl in the game says to your character. She also says, "Why do you have to eat frickin' pickles all the time? They make your breath smell terrible. I hate it." And while we're at it, would it kill you to put on clean socks? It's freaking gross, dude. Are you sure you're not just talking to me? No. This is game stuff. In the game. How does your character respond? I say, "I'm sorry, my lady. I meant no offense. I'm merely here to ask about a magic." Your car sucks too. I hate this game. Hey there, how's it going? I'm TechDweeb, kind of like TechDweeb, except he talks about dice and board games and pen and paper RPGs instead of computer games and retro doodads and how pathetic he is because he's over 40 and still lives with his mom. Kind of like I'm role-playing. See what I did there? I'm here to talk about one of my favorite RPGs ever. Shadowdark, an old-school revival-style RPG, which is sort of like a retro game RPG with an old-school vibe, with crunchy mechanics and a grimdark setting that are like a throwback to the early RPG days of yore. I like it because it's like all the fun modern mechanics that are easy to learn and fun to use, but without all the extra fluff and the bloat that slows down the game, which leads to players getting a lot more chances to do cool stuff. Or die. Characters die a lot in this game. It's part of the fun. Shadowdark is similar in mechanics to 5th edition D&D, but it does have a few unique quirks like an emphasis on darkness, a real-time torch that can burn out, and it has its own systems for things like casting spells, random encounters, downtime, etc. As a player, the vast majority of this stuff is easy to learn. Actually, I made a video guide that explains everything you need to know as a player in one short video. Link below. But players need a game master to run the game, and that's you. This video today is going to be a kind of high-level overview of what you need to know to run your first game of Shadowdark as a game master. I wanted to start off by reading you an excerpt from the Shadowdark RPG book, The Role of a Game Master, which is beautifully stated by Kelsey Guillaume in the intro to the Game Master section of the book. The Game Master is the world spinner, the all-wise, the ventriloquist. You are the deadly pit trap and the assassin in the night. You are the storm, the army, the gods. You hold ultimate power, yet you want only one thing, to see your players triumph. So you craft malevolent villains worth defeating. You sculpt marvelous treasures worth stealing. You fill the world with rot, darkness, and death so that it can be driven back by the sword, spell, and flame. Through this, you offer an invitation. You propose it loudly with roaring dragons, humbly with helpless villagers, secretly with hidden treasure maps. You call the players to adventure, and they answer. We're here to answer the call to adventure. Heck yeah, I'm gonna kill it with my axe and punch it in the face, in that order. I'm just happy that I get to hang out with my friends, even if it is in this stinking sewer. A session of Shadowdark should be focused on a single adventure. It could be a small part of a larger campaign, an epic tale spanning years of real-world time. The sky's the limit really, but for the purpose of an actual game night, an adventure is the fun thing that you're going to be planning for your players to experience. The Shadowdark book is full of all sorts of useful tips and tricks for creating locations, dungeons, cities, NPCs, you name it. Someday, I hope I can make a video covering all that stuff, but today, since we're assuming that this is your first game of Shadowdark, I'm going to suggest that you use a pre-made adventure, just to have something made for you that you don't have to stress too much about. There are lots of free adventures for Shadowdark. You'll find a ton if you Google around. Here's a few things you can search for to get you started. For the purpose of this video, I made my own little mini adventure, and I'll include the one-page rules and the map that I made for it in the thingy below if you want to give it a spin. I call it The Dusty Halls of the Eternal Boy. This guy sure did pick a weird place to build his lair. Kinda stinks down here. What is an eternal boy anyways? Does that mean he is a kid? Oh god, are we gonna kill a kid? Not all adventures end in a fight, Cracktag. Remember the ice tomb of the frost spider? Oh yeah, that frost spider actually turned out to be a pretty cool guy. It's your job as the game master to be the god of the world, but also you gotta be the rules lawyer, which means that you need to learn the rules. You need to know how to play, just to make sure that the game is fair and that the world has predictable outcomes. One of the main rules that you'll definitely be in charge of is the light. When your party decides to light a torch, pipsqueak. What's the magic word? Light a torch or I'll squish you like a bug. Yeah, that's the one. I light a torch. A torch burns for 1 hour of real-world time, so you're going to need to set a timer. Players aren't supposed to see the timer. They're not supposed to be watching the clock or using their own timers. They have to kind of go by vibes. I like to use this website, torchlighttimer.com, but you can use whatever timer method that you like. Let's make sure we don't forget to light a fresh torch before this one goes out. Pfft, yeah, right. What are the chances we'd forget something so important? We're doomed. Just like going to the bulk food store on a Monday night, an adventure without challenges or setbacks would be pretty boring. So it's your job to put obstacles in the way of your players to give them stuff to do. The main type of challenge is a skill check. There are 6 skills in the game: strength, dexterity, constitution, wisdom, intelligence, and charisma. So depending on the circumstance, you can come up with something that requires a feat of one of those skills to overcome. For example, let's say that the door to the dusty halls of the Eternal Boy is locked. Darn it. I was hoping we could just open it and walk inside. Well, what fun would that be? Can I break down the door? Oh, okay. So, this I wasn't expecting. I had intended this to be a lockpicking thing, like a dexterity challenge, but the player asked if they could do something different. I don't want to say yes to everything they ask because players will learn to abuse that. However, I want to be fair and allow some outside of the box thinking, and whenever something comes up that you don't know how to decide, instead of noodling it and looking up rules and slowing down the game, we turn to one of Shadowdark's secret weapons, the D6 Decider. It's basically a coin toss. Roll a d6, and if it's 1 to 3, the answer is no, and if it's 4 to 6, the answer is yes. 4 on the dice here, so yes, it's a wooden door and it looks like it could be broken. However, keep in mind that breaking a door is loud, and it might cause things to come creeping out of the darkness. Hey Cracktag, that door looks like it could be broken, but it might make a loud noise that will make creepies come out of the dark. Yeah, thanks, Captain State the Obvious. I'm gonna try anyways. Oh, hold on a moment, my dear. I just remembered. I'm carrying this battering ram. You've been carrying that around this whole time? Yes, I forgot that I had it until just now, to be honest. I wonder if this would give us advantage on trying to break down the door. And yeah, advantage is where the players set things up in a way that would make the challenge more likely to succeed. The opposite of that is disadvantage, obviously, where the circumstances mean that it would be less likely to succeed. In this case, yes, obviously a battering ram would give someone an advantage for trying to break down a door. Let's do this thing. Now, it's my job as the game master to choose a difficulty for the check that the party will do. Shadowdark has this info on a handy cheat sheet inside the cover. Easy checks are difficulty class 9, normal is DC 12, hard is DC 15, and extreme is DC 18. I'm going to say this is kind of a normal wood door, so it's just going to be a normal check. All right, my higher dice is 11 plus my strength of 3, so that's 11. Carry the 1. 14. Yeah, I know. Is 14 enough? Yeah. You smash down the door with the battering ram and it splinters apart. However, like I said earlier, the noise echoes through the sewer. Let's see if anything comes creeping out. And this is where we're going to do a random encounter check. Usually every 3 crawling rounds we do a check. A crawling round is where everyone gets 1 turn to move and explore and interact. Every 3 cycles you do a check. However, if the party makes a loud noise or does something foolish, that calls for a spontaneous check. To do a random encounter check, you roll a d6 and on a 1, there is an encounter. Let's see what happens. Uh-oh, that's a 1. Yeah, something is coming creeping out of the darkness. Uh-oh, I think I hear something creeping out of the darkness. Maybe it's friendly. This looks like a friendly place for friendly things. Yeah, my axe would love to make some new friends. To do a random encounter, we roll on a random encounter table. If you're running a pre-made adventure, it might come with its own table for you to roll on. If not, just look one up from the book. There are tables for caves and forests, cities, castles, deserts, jungles, you name it. I included a random encounter table for the Dusty Halls of the Eternal Boy, so I'll just roll on that. Looks like 2 giant centipedes come crawling out of the darkness. Ew, look at those gross giant centipedes. Let's kill them. You've had a bit of the bloodlust lately, Murph. You doing all right? It's backstory stuff. Ah, say no more. Let's wait and see if they're hostile before we attack, shall we? Yeah, so not every encounter ends up being a straight up fight. There's a section in the book about random encounters, so you can roll to determine the distance and what they're doing and how they react to the players, and the reaction can be changed if the players try to. I try to influence their attitude. I'm going to sing my long practiced centipede calming song. La-da-dee, la-da-doo. And if the players do something like that, then you add their charisma modifier to the reaction roll. I'll just do all these rolls, and the centipedes crawl out right beside you. They're super close. You can see their clacking mandibles dripping with poison. They seem like they're here to guard the door, but because of your a lovely centipede song, they're more curious than hostile. They come right up to you and they poke you with their antennas, but they don't attack. Hey, that tickles. All right, I put down one of my rations for the centipedes to eat. Oh, Cracktag, that's so kind of you. All right, yeah, they're hungry. They start eating your food. Good, good. And while they're eating, I want to surprise them and chop them with my axe. What? No! Oh, come on, you babies. We're here for treasure and XP, right? Let's take advantage of our advantage and just, smash up these chumps. Well, I kind of agree. All right, I haven't rolled any dice yet. Let's do it. Awesome. When a fight breaks out, we move into a combat sequence, and it usually starts by determining initiative, where every player rolls a d20 and they add their dexterity modifier, and the game master rolls once and adds the highest dex modifier of any monsters. I got 12. 7. I don't want to talk about it. 17, baby. Okay, so Cracktag is going to go first, and then the play order moves clockwise around the table. The game master moves all of the monsters at once on their turn. Wait, don't we get a surprise round? Oh, right, yeah. The players set up a situation so that they gotta surprise the centipede, so they'll get a whole turn before the monsters get to go. I already covered combat in my How to Play Shadowdark video, so I'm not going to go deep on the mechanics here, but at least let me show you how the stat blocks work. This is the giant centipede. You get some lovely little flavor text for these cuddly little guys, and then we can see that they have an armor class of 11, which means that the players need to get an 11 on their hits to hit them. They have just 4 HP. For attacks, they have 1 bite, which has a +1 modifier, and if it hits, it deals 1d4 damage and poison. It shows what the poison does down here. The player has to do a DC 12 con save or be paralyzed for 1d4 rounds. We can also see that they have a near move speed and they can climb. And you can also see their base stats, their strength and wisdom, charisma kind of thing. You can ignore most of that. And then we can see their level 1. As a very rough guideline, add up all the player levels and add up all the monster levels for a normal difficulty encounter. I have 3 level 1 players here, which is 3, and only 2 level 1 centipedes, which is 2. So 3 versus 2. So this should be a pretty easy combat for the players. And if you want to know how combat works, make sure you watch my How to Play video. Link below. Cracktag tries to smash one with her axe. Nope, sorry, that's a miss. Dang it! Murph, you're up. I back up to a safe distance and I pull out my bow and I fire an arrow. It's a hit. Only 2 damage though. Alright then, what does Fizzgig do? I cast mage armor on myself. Okay, Fizzgig has magic armor now. Cracktag's turn again. I'm gonna chop the one that Murph hurt already. It's a hit. Oh yeah, 5 damage. It's dead, and because you're the one who killed it, you get to tell us how it dies. Oh, it gets chopped by my axe, and it just falls down, dead. Boring. Shut up, or you're next. Gulp. Now, since half the monsters are gone, this is where we do a morale check to see if the monsters have the heart to keep fighting. This is just a DC 15 wisdom check for the monsters. These centipedes have a wisdom of -3, not very wise, and they got an 8 on the dice, so they fail. This last centipede goes running. Yeah, that's right. Run back to your mommy. I think you killed the mommy. Good. Loot, let's cut open its belly and see if it swallowed anything cool. Which brings us to treasure. So one of the ways that players can get treasure is by random encounters. There's a 50% chance that wandering monsters will have something valuable on them. And in this case, yeah, these centipedes do have something. To determine what it is, you'll be rolling on a treasure table. There are different tables for different player levels. So we're gonna roll a D100 and 41. Looks like inside the belly of this centipede is a golden bowl worth 15 gold pieces. Nice, I have space to carry that. And since this is Shadowdark, getting treasure is also how you get XP. There's a whole page about awarding XP, but basically a super low value thing like a few silver or a rusty fork or whatever gives no XP. Something kind of normal like this golden bowl will give 1 XP. Something fabulous like a magic item or a super valuable gem would be worth 3 XP. And something legendary like the mythic orange striped vestments of the eternal boy himself, that would be worth 7 XP. Just 1 XP then. At least we all get the XP. Yes, that's how XP works. Everyone gets the XP, as a team. Hey, I'm the one explaining how to play here. Oh, sorry, right. Onward to adventure. The players have gained entry to the dusty halls of the Eternal Boy, and as they move through the areas, they do so in turn order. I've already populated the world with traps, but maybe if you decide things are a bit boring, you'll want to spring your own traps on them. There are some traps and hazard tables in the book to help you come up with some of those on the fly if you want to. Generally, if the players describe how they look for traps, they find the traps that are what they describe. So if you have a pressure plate on the floor, if the players say they're searching the floor for pressure plates, they'll find it before they spring it. No check needed. It's your job as the game master to come up with devious traps that they won't expect. For example, I'm gonna listen at this door. You hear nothing. I slowly open the door. Yeah, well, as you open the door, you hear a clicking noise of some mechanism being triggered. You forgot to check for traps, my boy. Oh crap. We're in a pit now. I failed my saving throw and took a bunch of damage. Well, at least this can't get any worse. And just then, the torch goes out. Ah, darn, we forgot to remember to light a torch. I hate this game. I think it builds character. Can I light a new torch? Yes, but as you try to light a torch, you hear something creeping through the darkness above you. Yay, more character building. You know what? I agree with you. I hate this game. What will happen to our hapless heroes in the darkness of a pit as a slimy grick descends upon them? A grick? Seriously? Well, you'll have to find out yourself by running a game of Shadowdark for your friends and downloading my free adventure. Link below. This was a very brief little overview of how to run a game as a game master for Shadowdark. And that should be enough to get you started, but there is so much more we can talk about with bigger campaign stuff like overland travel, the passing of days and weeks, downtime, towns and cities and shops and caves and forests and icy mountain peaks. The world of a tabletop RPG can be basically endless. But when it comes to getting started, you don't need to worry about that stuff. Just grab the free Shadowdark quick start rules and get your players to read them. You pick a few easy adventures, gather some character sheets, prepare some simple paper maps, use dice as your minis, whatever you need to do to quickly and easily get a game going for a group of your favorite goofballs. You don't need to be a pro. You just need to have enthusiasm, a table and pencils and snacks, and the willingness to make mistakes and have fun anyways. And that's it from me. I'm gonna go practice my goblin voice. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Oh, look out, I'm a goblin. Here I come. Goblin up the place with my goblin sword. I got 2 of them actually. I changed my mind, now I have 2. I'm gonna stab you with both my goblin swords, haha.